service here. I just want to welcome you to our One Heart, One Mind Sunday service, and I'm going to invite the Levins. Did I say it right?
Levins, you got
Levins.
We'll help.
The Levins. Oh, my bad. I have some like mental block. I'm gonna have to practice that.
Okay.
To start us off with some beautiful music.
Whee!
All right.
So we picked this old gem because it's just a feeling that we want to bring back around again and again. And it's how we feel when we're with you guys.
When somebody thinks you're wonderful, what a difference in your day. It seems like all your troubles disappear like a feather in your way.
When somebody thinks you're wonderful,
tells you with a smile so sweet, all those stones you're stepping on, they're just a meadow neath your feet.
And how we face the morning, we gaily swing along.
At night we may be weary,
but our heart still sings a song.
When somebody thinks you're wonderful, love is mighty close to you. Just another thing more wonderful,
making all your dreams come true.
Well, when somebody thinks you're wonderful, tells you with a smile so sweet, all those stones that you're stepping on become a meadow beneath your feet.
And how we face the morning, we gaily swing along.
At night we may be weary,
but our heart still sings a song.
When somebody thinks you're wonderful, love is mighty close to you. Just another thing more wonderful,
making all your dreams come true.
just another thing more wonderful, making all your dreams come true.
We think you are all wonderful. And we don't all get to hear that enough, so we want you to know how sincere we are.
What a great song. I love that. It's really uplifting and fun. So I would like to invite our practitioner of the day, Jean Pirkl, to give us our invocation and say a few words.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jean.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And if it's comfortable for you, if you wouldn't mind closing your eyes or lowering your gaze. Right here, right now, I recognize that there is only one power, one presence, and one infinite intelligence. It is the back of everything. It is the presence within everything that is life. It is energy, the spark, and the spunk of inspiration. It is the infinite intelligence and wisdom. It is the perfect pattern of all life and the perfect design. It is everything that there is, and it is always expressing itself in and out every single speck of creation, every aspect of this beautiful and sparkling cosmos and its infinity. It is the energy and the beauty. It's the billions of galaxies and stars, planets and life forms, and the precious earth, and all upon and within it. And I know that this means me and everyone here, everyone listening. We are creating this sacred container of life expressing itself. All of the music, the blessed Levins, are perfect and clear instruments of joy, and creativity. Through Rev Michelle's divine wisdom flows through her and through her message. And I speak my word for and about everyone here, and I affirm, just as the power of creation is infinite, that each and everyone will receive what they came for. This is our sacred time together, as always, is blessed. So we affirm together by saying, and so it is.
It is.
All right. Good morning, Isla.
Good morning, everyone.
So today's topic is to go with the flow, and I was really stymied by that. So I reached out to Rev Michelle to come up with something inspirational or personal to say about that. And I still struggled, but Rev Michelle really provided some, as per usual, some great guidance. But what comes to mind for me, and I don't know how many Trekkies are out there, is to go with the flow is to be a Borg, is to resistance is futile, you must behave, tote the line, or toe the line, and just conform. And that's not it at all. but that has been for a very long time my perception of what going with the flow means, is just to kind of be quiet and small and just kind of be conforming. So I took that on this week as an exercise, as to look at areas in my life, which wherever I show up in one space, I'm going to show up everywhere that way, is just to try to put that aside, the need to control or to have a certain outcome, because my perspective was often that things needed to look or be a certain way. And I would typically notice when they wouldn't go that way, and that would cause some inner strife, obviously. But when I looked at it this week from the perspective of everything is a gift, and to have that to remove resistance to the need to have things to look a certain way, I think that I know that I felt a lot more expansive in my ability to see things, to see opportunities, to see experiences, and to connect with others in ways that previously really weren't as deep as. So that was the gift that this topic brought into my awareness this week. So that's what I had to share, and I look forward to hearing Michelle's talk.
Well, you just gave us kind of a little mini talk, and we do have, thank you for that, Jane. We do have an October affirmation. Let me put it up here. Thank you, Jean, for creating this beautiful slide too.
Yeah, sure. So if you'd like to join together, we'll read this. Today, I rise above circumstances. I draw my awareness to the present moment, free of judgment, opinion, and expectation. In everything I see, an underlying perfect unity. I live in a consciousness of love, peace, and gratitude. In this way, I consciously co-create my life. And so it is.
Thank you. Yeah, and we do, and we are. And let's have some more beautiful music.
Yay!
That was the perfect quotation for today.
Yeah, it was great. Gee, that was beautiful. Well, my thoughts and my body are not me. I can play them both like a violin. Their melody reminds me of who I am and where I've been. I once saw a fish in a tall tree. When he saw me, he began to grin. He said, your melody reminds me there's water in air, and he started to swim. I'm barely contained, you can't buy how I feel. I give it away, I'm a bright summer day with the colors of fall. I'm all things at once and I'm nothing at all. Well, I used to think power was outside. that strength was just a muscle show. But strength follows through from the inside. I can bench press the world by just letting go. I once saw a rose in an old book, and when she saw me, she began to grin. She said, "Your melody reminds me of happier times," and she blossomed again. I'm barely contained, you can't buy how I feel. I give it away, I'm a bright summer day with the colors of fall. I'm all things at once and I'm nothing at all. Now breathing, it's more than a pastime. It's a fine line, and you can't hold on. Laughing is healing, and loving, it's really a wind chime. It's a song. I'm barely contained, you can't buy how I feel. I give it away, I'm a bright summer day with the colors of fall. I'm all things at once and I'm nothing at all. I'm all things at once and I'm nothing. I'm all things at once. My thoughts and my body are not me. I can play them both like a violin. Their melody reminds me of who I am and where I've been.
Wow. That was perfect. What a perfect song to fit the topic. How beautiful and lovely. And I have to say, the harmony of your voices, so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Really, really enjoyed that so much. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Oh, it was lovely, really lovely. So good morning and welcome to the online spiritual community of One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And I'd like to take a moment before I really get into it here to remind us all, myself included, that a community is made and it's strengthened by the connections that we share. I always feel this great connection with you when we're together. And whether those connections happen online or in person, it doesn't really matter. It's all about the friendship and the love we share with each other. That's what matters. And even if we live geographically apart from each other, our connections are still meaningful. And these are the connections that bring the bright light of love into our own lives and ultimately into the world. You know, when you're feeling all lit up inside, you bring that into everything you do and everything you are. So here's what I know. I know that we as a community continue to be committed to explore new ways to expand and to include and to honor everyone no matter where they live. Because that's what a spiritual community does. That's what a spiritual family does. And I just want to remind you that I am so grateful for all of you and for your continuing participation, support, and the connection that I feel with you. It means so much to me. And so I'm so just super grateful for that. And I'm proud of us for being able to continue this deep connection, to continue in the connection online. You know, who knew that it could be so powerful and so meaningful? Well, I'm sure someone did, but I'm really realizing it. And now we've been doing it for 2.5, almost 3 years. And I just feel very strongly about this. So that brings me to this morning's message, which is let it flow. And as this title suggests, there's a flow, a rhythm and a harmony to life. And we can see it all around us in the physical world. The most obvious thing that flows is water. It tumbles along, finding the path of least resistance, and it's pulled by gravity and then pushed by its own weight. And its shape is the shape of whatever holds it. It can be soft and gentle, or it can be a raging storm like the one that just devastated Florida. We hold the light for them as they go through this recovery. But truly, the effects of water are a product of the forces pushing and pulling it. The water just allows itself to flow. Lots of things flow. Electricity flows. It has currents that move it along in a controlled way to light our homes and our streets, or run our computers or our refrigerators, but we've learned to direct its flow, right? Nature directs its flow, but the electricity just allows. It just is. It just is what it is. Sound flows. It flows in waves and frequencies. And we can organize sound into words or beautiful music, or bells and whistles. Nature shapes it too. There's the soft sound of the rain, or the loud crashing sound of thunder. It flows. Sound allows itself to go wherever it's directed. It just is. It is. Light flows. Light moves as waves, and we've learned to direct it where we need to focus it, right? Where we need it, put a little light on the subject. We focus it on what it is we want to see clearly, but the light just is. It just is. It is what it is. And science tells us that what appears to be empty space is not empty at all, but that empty space is alive with the flow of waves of potential. I like to call it the God stuff. And that we can direct the flow of these waves of potential by putting our attention on them. It's called the observer effect. And the waves of potential just say yes to however they're directed. They just are. Life, creation, flows. Can you just feel that? I just feel it when I say it. And we're empowered to co-create our life experience by where we put our attention and our focus, because we're one with our Creator, one with Source, God, Spirit, whatever name you prefer to give it. We're one with the nature of our Creator, and as such, we're instruments of its expression, like water, electricity, sound, lights, and these invisible waves of potential. We can just say yes and allow ourselves to stand in the flow of good. What a gift. What a gift to know that we are always present within Spirit's constant vibration and flow, and that we're empowered, as the poet Browning said, to release our inner splendor. We're empowered to do simply by being, just by being and allowing. We have the incredible opportunity, and I would even say a sacred responsibility, to release into the world what Spirit has planted within us, and let that flow through us, because Spirit's nature is our nature. And as we discussed last week, we begin by acknowledging that we are always swimming in the infinite ocean of God. And as we turn our attention to the divine presence within us, aligning with that seed perfection, as Ernest Holmes loved to call it, and I do too, that seed perfection at the center of our being, we naturally release the goodness of God, the goodness of Spirit, of life into our lives and into the world. Just as we walk through our regular everyday life, we release that as we stand in it, as we recognize it. We stand in the infinite flow, and we realize that we're here to be That's sacred presence. I truly believe that is our work in the world, to be the sacred presence by allowing this flow. And here's the thing about this flow state that we're talking about. We don't have to create it. It's already happening, and we just have to allow it. We don't have to create the instrument through which spirit expresses itself. We're already in. We don't have to make water or electricity or sound or light or the invisible waves of potential. They already exist. But we are empowered to channel or focus them to where we want them to flow and where we want them to do their holy work. And the same is true of spirit. We don't have to create the state of flow. We just have to allow it to move through us. And we're empowered to direct it by how we think and how we feel, which becomes our state of being. We direct it by where we put our attention. And we can put our attention on anything we choose. We can put our attention on love or fear. We can put our attention on lack or plenty. We can put our attention on limitation or on possibility. We're at choice. And you know what? This is really great news for us because it takes a lot of the pressure off, because we don't have to make it happen. All we have to do is stand in the state, in the natural state of flow, and align with how we want to feel. I don't have to figure out how to bring the water down from the high mountain springs. It's going to flow down because that's its nature. But I can direct the flow to water my plants and to fill my bathtub and to wash my clothes. I can direct the flow through the pipes I lay down, the channels that I create. I don't have to figure out how to make spirit flow through my life. It does it naturally. I just have to allow it to relax, to let go, and to align with what already is within me. You know, I can close my eyes. We can all do this. I can close my eyes and I can feel the energy of peace. I know you can. I can feel the energy of prosperity. What does it feel like to prosper? I can feel the energy of love, that deep love. Align with that. Allow that to be the foundation upon which you stand and which you live your life. You know, and it will outpicture in your experience. It has no choice because that's its nature. Its nature is to play through us, to play through all of us, to express through it. It plays the notes on which I focus. It's on which we focus. You know, I was reminded as we're putting my talk together of a story that Dr. Joe Dispenza tells about his daughter. He was trying to teach her how to focus on how she feels so that she can create the life she wants to experience, to allow and let spirit flow, really is what he was teaching her. And he was teaching her that what she puts her attention on is the pathway, laying down that pipe from the high mountain stream again, for how the divine flow will move through her. So once his daughter was 15, he asked his daughter, so what's next? And what do you want to create now? And she didn't even have to think about it. She quickly replied, I want an unlimited shopping spree. Definitely sounds like a 15-year-old. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And Dispenza said, okay, here's what you do. Get clear in your mind about what it would look like and how you would feel to have this amazing shopping spree. And practice the feeling with gratitude every day. So she did. And then a couple of months later, she called him when I remember the story, he was in the car in Washington, D.C. on his way to a lecture. And she called him and she told him that she got her shopping spree. So it turns out she was shopping with a friend in Santa Monica in California. And a man came up to her as they're going through the clothes in the rack. And he asked her friend, the daughter's friend, if she was Sam Borelli's daughter, and it kind of took the friend back. It was kind of strange that this man was asking her about her dad. And she said, yes. And then he said that Sam, her dad, had done a huge favor for him and that he had been trying to think of a way to pay him back. So he gave the girls his company credit card and told them to take it for the afternoon and have fun. Dispenza asked, so how much was the fun? And it turned out to be $7,500. But then she said, but that's not even the best part. The best part is how much fun it was, even more fun than she had ever imagined. And Dad, she said, I created this whole thing with my mind. What a great story. And what a great lesson and a great way to teach your children or anyone the incredible power of that thinking, feeling, state of being, loop, pattern that creates and outpictures into our lives. You know, we're all these incredible infinite waves and in this ocean of godness. We talked about that last week. We're always a choice about how we choose to allow the ocean to express through us. And the only thing that matters is that we recognize that what we think and how we feel creates. Focus our thinking and our feeling, stand in the flow of good. You know, now this was a 15-year-old girl wanting to have a good time, and certainly nothing wrong with that, as I said, but maybe your desire is to heal your body or to create the perfect job that fulfills and sustains you in every way, or create a relationship, or whatever fills your heart and expresses your unique gifts and ultimately supports the whole, because whatever is good for me is good for everyone else, as long as I'm not infringing on anybody else or harming anybody in any way. My good is always your good. To experience the good flow of the divine in my life shows you that it's possible, and it contributes to the good of all. So another story, I thought I'd kind of do the spectrum, two approaches, a kind of opposite on the spectrum, if you will, is from creating a shopping spree. It's a Zen story. And the story goes that when new monks enter the monastery, they're told that to be enlightened, they must eliminate all desire from their lives. And so they go off and they spend 5 or 10 years working to release all desires. Then when they finally return to the teacher and announce that they have succeeded, the teacher will nod and smile and ask, "Why did you do that?" And they come to the realization that they did it because they had a desire to be enlightened. So sadly, they set off to release their desire to be enlightened, only to realize that they're still working in the field of desire, that life is motivated by desire, whatever it is. And eventually we awaken to the realization that desire is the motivating energy of the universe, which moves everything forward. And they release their desire to release their desire. I mean, think about it. An acorn has a desire to become an oak. We have that God seed perfection within us. We have a desire to express that good. You know, we're here on planet Earth in human form to express and experience the divine in form. And that can be a shopping spree or a life-altering experience of absolute joy, a relationship, a partner, whatever it is. But I think that we can be sure that the all good God desires to express itself as all of its good qualities, as compassion and friendship and prosperity and vitality and health, exuberance. I could go on, beauty, wholeness, fun, joy. We could go on in infinite ways that spirit within us desires to express itself through us. I don't believe that as expressions of God, we ever need to play small or deny what we believe might bring us some fulfilling experience. You know, but we shouldn't be arrogant or self-serving to the detriment of others or the world. But because we're one with the nature of God, we can allow our desire to express as good in the world, which, you know, it supports everything. In our oneness, if we're experiencing good, all are experiencing good. So I think desire is good and motivates life. Now that we recognize that life flows and our part is to allow the flow, what we can do to release or remove anything that might be in the way, blocking the flow of the good. That's always the question, right? How can we unkink the hose or remove any of the debris out of the way? You know, our old ideas or beliefs, so old experiences that are still driving our life, so that we can open up and allow the fresh and the new ideas and the to flow freely. Got to get that flow word in there. We're all about the flow today. And we begin by looking at our lives, I think, and we talked a lot about this last week, from the view of the expanded awareness, the infinite ocean of consciousness of God. And from this connection with the allness and perfection of spirit, from the viewpoint of love, our perspective begins to let go of the things that obstruct our view, our previously held points of view or experiences that they've got us stuck in one place. You have some of those. I always have some of those. I think about them and try and release them all the time. But from this higher or more expanded view, we can see life as it really is, from the reality of the divine, or through the eyes of love, And I believe that God's will for our lives, God's will is our will, all our lives, is to be an active participant in our own unfolding good. Quantum physics, science, quantum physics in particular, is revealing to us that we can no longer simply be bystanders of our lives, that we are always participating in the unfoldment of our own lives. And Science of Mind teaches the same thing, that we live in a participatory universe, a universe that is grounded in love, the divine presence, working through law, which makes the way for love possible. And we participate with both because we're one with both. Even our view of physical evolution on our planet has changed dramatically. Originally, scientists believed that life evolved because a species adjusted to its external circumstances. And now it's believed that it is the desire or the need of the organism that dictates its unfolding evolution. It actually changes its surroundings. It's an inside-out shift emanating from the evolving species, and it might be stimulated by some outside need, but it's sourced from within. And I believe that's true of us too. Life may be pulling us in a bunch of different directions, and we might feel like we need, but everything that is supplied, the channels from which everything comes, is an inside-out. It's sourced in the divine. It has to be. It's the source of all. So to illustrate this idea that I'm talking about, just standing in the flow and having things just show up for you, little synchronicities pop up in your life. So I was putting together today's talk, and I was thinking, I need a fresh idea about how to release the old ideas and make space for the flow of new ideas. And when, I got an email from Sounds True, which is a streaming app, you might be familiar with it. And they do spiritual classes and workshops. And this one, the email said that there was a free video series. I think it was 3 videos. And one of them was called Practices to Undo Limiting Beliefs. It was put on by Tara Brock, she's an author. She teaches Zen techniques, and by, what's his name? Hansen. Is it Rick? Rick Hansen, I believe. Jack Hansen. And anyway, so it was exactly what I was looking for. I was thinking, gee, I need this. I had this desire, and they just popped up. So they, in this one video, Undoing Unlimiting Beliefs, or how to release them, she gave these wonderful questions, these 3 empowering questions. And I love empowering questions. I think empowering questions invite us to find the answers. I always think of, I'm talking a lot very quickly. I'm trying to get this all in. I'm going to slow down. I always think of that line from Albert Einstein, where he said if he only had 1 hour to solve a problem, he'd spend the first 55 minutes So empowering questions, I think, have us dig much deeper into what's really going on. So anyway, the first question that she asked she asked us to ask ourselves, is this really true? So let's say, for instance, I'm presented with a situation where I don't have quite enough money to pay all my bills. I can pause and ask myself, is this really true? And the answer is probably going to be yes, because right now I don't have the money in my bank account to pay this bill, right? I don't have enough. But then I can also ask this. This is kind of another way to look at the same question. Might it be real, but not really true? Meaning that it's true in spirit that I live in this infinite ocean of supply. So in the invisible realm, it already exists, and all I have to do is focus and shift my thinking and my feeling from being limited into feeling how it feels to be supplied by spirit, and then align with the thought and the feeling of what it feels like to have enough money to pay the bill, because I know that there's no lack of supply in spiritual principle and God. And by aligning with what is true in spirit, I can demonstrate that truth, standing in the flow of good. Now that sounds pretty easy. It's simple, but not always easy. So we have lots and lots of spiritual practices to help us move into the truth in spirit so that we can demonstrate it in our life. And gratitude, I have to say, is probably at the top of the list for me. Once you're in gratitude, it's easy to align with truth. And I could take that one question and design a whole Sunday talk around it. But let's move on to the next question. The second question that she presented was, what is it like to live in this belief? So what is it like to live in the belief that I don't have enough? I really find that to be an empowering question, because it invites us to move out of just our cognitive understanding of an old belief, but to how it feels in our body. And Brock was saying brilliantly, I think, that we have to, what did she say? She said we had to loosen the belief from our bodies if we truly want to hear it. And I think that's so true. And she's not the only one. Joe Dispenza says that in all of his work. And we know that's true in our science of mind philosophy, that these patterns, we create these patterns of thinking and feeling in a state of being. And that until we acknowledge that this is how we feel, and we become willing to loosen that and release it, then we can transform or change it. We have to understand that the entire pattern has to shift. We can shift into a new state of being, and we demonstrate or create who we are, not what we think we want to be, but who we truly believe we are. And that's not always, we don't always believe that we're God, even though we are. So we have to make sure we're grounded in that. And the last empowering question that she offered was, what does this vulnerable place need? So I love the line that whatever is needed in any situation I can bring. And this is really kind of a twist on that. Whatever is needed, what is this vulnerable place that I'm feeling here? What does it need? Using that example of lack again, we could say that this vulnerable place needs to feel safe and supplied, and to be filled with a sense of trust in life, trust in the good, trust in God. And as we know, everything that we could possibly need is already right where we are. We don't have to go looking for anything. Everything God is, we are too, and it's right here. And so our part is to consciously put our attention on the qualities of God that will support and transform our fear, our discomfort into trust and peace. And so, I asked Jean to put these questions in the chat for you so that you can explore this on your own a little deeper. If you want to look for that Sounds True video, it's free. I really enjoyed hearing different ways to loosen or let go of these old states of being that give way to the new. Because if we understand that our consciousness is the cause of everything in our life, then we recognize what our work is. We recognize what we have to do. And that is to clear our consciousness of the congestion or the restriction of the flow of the divine, to unkick the hose, if you will, and just let the water flow, the water of grace flow into our life. I just love that. And for me, grace is all about the acknowledgement of the presence of God, of love. So, the abundance and the brilliance of this one always wants to shine through us. And all we have to do is let it. It's always on. It's always turned on. We just have to let it flow. We just need to get out of the way and let it flow. So let's pray. Let's take a nice deep centering breath, grounding ourselves, our acknowledgement that all we are is God. All there is God. All we are is God. We are one with it. And it is the easy, effortless flow of life, of prosperity, of abundance, of beauty, of compassion, of friendship, of health and vitality, of wholeness. We could go on and on and on. It's all good. It's all God. It's all us. And so I speak my word for and about each and every person that is on this call, that there's a shift in consciousness that recognizes who and what we are, that puts our attention on the good that we wish to demonstrate in our life, that just sits in the gratitude of it all. So grateful that I am empowered by the source that I am one with to embrace its nature as my nature and create the life of good that I desire to have and that benefits the good of all. So in that, I just simply relax. I just say, thank you. I relax in the knowing that all is well. I've done my work. Now I just let God do God's. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. I got so excited there for a minute. I found myself like running through the talk. I was like, calm down, Michelle. They can't hear you if you talk too fast. Anyway, oh, that was fun. I enjoyed it very much. And this is time for our sacred giving. And oh my gosh, I can't remember who it is. Thank you, Leslie. I'm so glad you knew.
Now's our time for sacred giving, when we can say thank you to One Heart, One Mind for the spiritual lessons that they provide us with, and for this community where we can share in the support each other and all of the classes and the things that we learn. And we have a couple of ways that we can do that. We can do that through the Venmo application. And that is an online donation that goes directly into our banking account. Or if you wish to send a check, you can send that to our Assistant Treasurer, Jim Massipus, and the address is in the chat section of this presentation. And I ask that you all please join me together as we do our sacred blessing.
Sorry about that. Let me find it. I thought I had it up, and apparently I do not. Let me get it. Okay, here it is.
Everything flows from the nature of God's good. We receive from this flow. We give from this flow. We give in gratitude and in love. We have faith in the infinite giving of spirit. And so it is.
Thank you, Leslie. We're going to come back to you in a minute for the benediction. But in the meantime, Yvonne, you have some announcements for us?
I do. The first one is to invite you all to join us on Monday evening, tomorrow evening, for our prayer group, which is from 6 to 6:20. And we silently pray for one heart, one mind. And it's been proven that communal prayer really is powerful. So I hope you'll join us. It feels really good. And then on Tuesday evening, we have a spiritual learning circle from 6 to 7. And we'll continue the 4-week visioning workshop that we're having, which is really turning out to be, as Michelle said earlier, really a lot of fun and really important in our lives. So it's visioning, a spiritual practice, a way of life. And we practiced all week. At least I did. And I know a lot of you did too. So this is the 3rd week. There'll be tomorrow or Tuesday and then one more week of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you didn't attend before. Just pop in if you'd like to.
Right. And it's facilitated by Reverend Michelle and Practitioner Ray Lane. And then the other two things are just a reminder that our unexpected income fund is still, fundraiser is still going on. So don't forget about it. It's also a lot of fun. And we also have the kindness fund and the music fund. So that's all I have.
And I don't have the dates nailed down, so I don't want to put them in there. I don't want to tell you when they are yet, but we do have some things in the work. We're going to do a service in conjunction with Rabbi David Zaslow sometime at the end of October or early November. And then we're also going to do something called StoryCorps, where we share our stories, and we're going to do that in person and stream it. So we've got some stuff coming up. So just to give you a heads up to watch out for those. All right. Reverend Leslie, would you like to do the benediction, the closing prayer?
Sure would. Let's all take a deep breath as we join together and give thanks for this time we've spent together. For this community where we can join together in the support of each other on our spiritual life, the pathways that each of us take, the decisions that we have to make. We are so grateful to have Reverend Michelle and all of the practitioners available in our life to help us as we move down that pathway, knowing that life happens and there are decisions to be made, and that everyone in this community is there to support us and to love us and to have compassion for us. We are so grateful for this center and all that it does. And so we let these words go, giving thanks for them and being ever, ever so grateful that it exists. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Jean, for being our sound person. Thank you, Ira and Julie. I just gonna call you by your first name. I'm safe there. And thank you, everybody. Let's have some more music.
That's great.
I think, you know, for when we're here, we could just be Ira and Julia. That's
there you
fun.
go.
We don't have a problem with that. It's beautiful.
So we are open to that flow, and we say, let it rain.
Woo!
I'm going to do the cue. Oh, yeah.
Rain has followed me through the mist of the sorrow that surrounded me. The sun can never burn away the bliss that lays around me. Let it rain, let it rain, let your love rain down on me. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, rain, rain. My life was like a burning flower blooming in the sun, until I found a way to love. It was easier said than done. Let it rain, let it rain, let your love rain down on me. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, rain, rain. Now I know the secret there is nothing that I lack. And if I give my heart to you, be sure to give it back. Let it rain, let it Let your love rain down on me. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, 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 rain. Let it rain. Woohoo! But not today, not here, just over there.
No, all the time. We're open to that flow all the time.
We could use a little rain.
Excellent.
You know what I want to hear about rain? You know that story that Greg Braden tells when he went up to the top of the mountain and he was going to pray for, or he was with the Indian shaman who was going to pray for rain, and he just stood there for a while and he didn't say anything, and Greg thought he was going to do some like ritual or something, and he says, "Okay, let's go. You want to get something to eat?" They go, "So wait a minute, what do you mean? I thought you were going to pray for rain." He said, "No, I'm not going to pray for rain. I'm going to pray rain." He said, "I stood there with my feet squishing around in the mud, feeling the rain on my face and the wind. And I'm like, oh, that always was such a poignant description of prayer to me. It's like you become it, you are it, you're in the environment of it." Anyway, I got a little off track there, but
No, that was fabulous.
Beautiful. There you go. That was actually a great image to have. That was
it's in one of his books. I can't remember which it is.
Oh my God.
But anyway,
that's a great.
great
You know, the
story.
hilarious part was that you were telling the story about Einstein, and he said if I had an hour to think about it, it was 55 minutes. And then you froze, and we didn't get to hear what you said.
Oh, I said the 55 minutes. I would spend 55 minutes thinking of the right question to ask, and 5 minutes finding the answer.
Okay,
There you go.
Isn't that great?
Gonna be
Yeah, I left you hanging there. The other shoe was gonna drop.
I was like, no.
Oh, anybody have anything they want to say or contribute?